We're here. Don't worry, I'm here. Rocky Horror. I'm here. Don't you remember when he's coming down in the lift on the Rocky Horror?
Yes.
And they're all singing, and he goes, I'm here. Oh, when Tim Curry did that, it just was the most amazing thing. Angela's here. Hello, Angela. Hi, guys. Sandra's here. Hi, everyone. Sandra from Czech. Oh, by the way, looks like we're going to Czech to do a workshop next year, which means Central Europe, not far from Prague. You can fly into Prague, Germany, Austria. This is what Sandra was saying. So anybody in Germany and Austria, in Poland, France, Belgium, Netherlands, come on over to Czech, because that's where we're going to be doing a workshop. That's exciting, isn't it? Caroline Schillig's here. Hello from Portugal. Hi, everyone. Evening all, says Kelly. It's finally Friday. Yay! How's she doing? How's Polka doing? So we've had a week of it now, haven't we? There's been a week. Oh, look, there's me. There's me, just waiting for Gary. Annie Hogan. Hello, Annie. Good evening, all. Hello, hello. Lisa Charles here. I finally made it to another live. Thank goodness for crappy weather. It's been so...
We've had crappy weather too.
Janet Welsh. Hi, all, says Janet. Hey, everyone, says Jackie Berry. Jenny Appearing, morning from New Zealand. Good morning. Karen Mackinson's here. Hi, everyone, Karen. Got a tipple this evening. Anita Pepper's here. Howdy from British Columbia. Hello, Anita Pepper. Good to see you.
Howdy, Anita.
Vicky Ware, good morning and hello from Australia. Yes, I'm in bed. It's 5:15 a.m. Love the lives. Hubby next to me, sleeping.
That's still weird.
It's just not right.
That's still not
right. It's wrong on so many levels. Charlie Brown is with us this evening. Hello. Hello. Good to see you.
Hi,
how are you getting on? Day one tick. Has day two opened for you yet? I don't know. Is day two open? I think day one is just what you've had. So it's just us going, you've done it. Welcome to the 15-day challenge. You've got so many exciting things to come. That's where you're at the moment, isn't it? Anne Blake's here. Anne, hello. How is Max's hindfoot today? How's he getting on? Libby's here from Shetland. Hello, Libby. Good to see you here. Julie Bradbury's here. Evening from sunny Scotland. Is it indeed? Good to see you, Julie.
Sunnier in Scotland than it is in France.
People are booking on that course, Julie. We had another one yesterday. So it's doing well. Becky Ansell, hello, lovely people. I know you're very, very busy, but I'm giving you a little nudge to remind you that YouTube world is stuck on day 35 of lives. Can somebody come and do it for me? I can't do it all. I need somebody to do my YouTubes. It's just so difficult to keep on top. I promise I'll do one after this. I'll put 2 up after this. Well, I'm not going to promise anything, actually, because that usually dies when I promise stuff. Lydia Dubinot's here. Hello. Hi from Canada.
Hiya.
Says, question, how can I change our Zoom for the 10-day challenge? I can't do it at 4 a.m. Okay, so when we have the 10-day challenge, we offer you 2 possibilities. A Thursday or a Wednesday. Not sure which one what it is.
Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening. Or a Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. But that's French time.
So 7 o'clock in the evening would be afternoon for you. So it would have to be on a Wednesday. Do you work, Lydia? Are you retired? How does it go?
Thursday, not Wednesday.
Sorry, Thursday. Thursday. That's because I do other things on Wednesday. Thursday. So that's the day. And that was available for you there to book. Let me know if that's not possible. But it is a Thursday or a Saturday, and we can't take it any later than that, obviously, because it's a 10-day challenge group call. So it would have for you, it would be the Thursday. I don't know whether I made that clear. Sarah says, hi, everyone. Marianne Wilson's here. Your post on the scientific fact. Love your post on the scientific facts of toe chopping. Shall we show everyone, Marianne? Because they might not have seen it. Shall I pop it up on the screen? Let's go and have a look. Let's go and have a look. Hoofing Marvellous, where I haven't shared it into the Phoenix group yet, as I only put it up earlier. See, I should have been putting things up on YouTube. Oh, you've not seen it? Oh.
Yep.
Let's get it up. So the actress to the bishop. Bum, 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 bum. Let me just get that. Okay, I'll read it down.
It's slow this evening.
I'll read
make it bigger so I can see it.
So this is the
Said the actress to the bishop.
While steering a tea with the other hand. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Right, this is the post. Breaking the feedback loop or removing pillars of support. Should have made that arrow a little bit bigger, I think, in retrospect. So what are we talking about here? This is an incredibly common way to trim a horse's foot, and it is vile, is it not? Utterly vile. And why is it vile? Because it is going against the horse's biology. It's going against the horse's hoof mechanism. Or do you know something, Gary? I think your cat is meowing outside my back door.
Yes. Should I come and get him?
No, send Rachel. Send Rachel. Or send the kids. Somebody tell the kids. Right. So go mute and go and sort it out. It's vile, right? Why is it vile? It's vile because I'll just remove him a minute. I'll chat. It's vile because if you remove the toe pillar, no matter how stretched that horse's hoof is, you are going to remove this feedback to the coronary band. You're going to remove this toe pillar, which is a support pillar, which is in stopping the horse from walking on the sole. Because now, God, I'm doing all of this because now the pillar, this pillar of support. Can you? Oh, hang on a minute. I don't know whether he's still there. Add you back to the stage, Gary. Can you see here, Gary? Can you see where my hand is?
Yeah. Your pointer's working.
Right. So this, even if that horse had separation, and even if this horse didn't, its foot would be much, obviously, far further onto the ground than that they've taken it here. Now, so this would be its pillar of support. Now, the pillar of support for this horse is here, right here, not here, here, and here. The surface area has practically been halved. Can you see that? Can you see what they've done here? They've practically halved the surface area. And this is one of the reasons why horses are having, why they struggle and why they're sore, or they appear to be sore, because shortening that surface area, decreasing that surface area increases what we call the wobble effect. So that's when you have anything that has something long above it, which is the leg, and the surface area that leg has to stand on gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, you're going to increase what we call the wobble effect. And that has implications, and I don't even go into this in great detail in the post, but that has implications on the lateral cartilages. It has implications on the joints themselves, on the pastern joint, and on the fetlock joint, and further up the leg. It has implications all over the place. And then and in this particular trim, you can see not only have they removed the toe wall, but they've also removed it way back to the heel. So the only bit on the ground at the moment is the heel. And I can guarantee to you, if they're doing this at the front, they will not be leaving much in the way. They'll be leaving too much heel and not taking it down to the hard sole plane. I can see that because I can see where the periople is ending here. So I know that this is underrun as well. So you've got a shortened surface area anyway with the underrun heel, which is why I took this red line a little bit further back, you see, to here, because actually that's where the true heel almost definitely would have been. So not only have you removed, decreased the surface area, you've removed the horse's pillar of support, 3 pillars of support, the 2 heels and 1 at the toe. Only if, in exceptional circumstances, if you have a very symmetrical hoof, healthy symmetrical hoof do you have? 2 at the toe, and you're breaking the feedback loop, which is why I put these little white arrows on there with a cross on it, because there's no toe horn on the ground now sending signals back to the papillae in the coronary band to say grow, 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 keep on growing, which means the heels don't have any counterbalance, which means that the heels look like they grow quicker, but in actual fact they're going at the right rate, but the toe has slowed right down. This horse hasn't even got significant rings, right? So what on earth are they doing? You know, even if hoof wall is even longer because it's got separation, which is looking a bit, you know, looking a bit bloody down here. Even if it has got separation, it doesn't matter. Give the horse their foot back. They are fine with it. Stop interrupting all of these things on bogus science. It causes massive problems to the horse, huge problems to the horse and pony. And when you do have rings here, you would then start having diverging rings because this area here just slows down. It just slows right down, and they gather together almost like you're ruffling, you know, almost like you're ruffling material together. That's what it looks like, because sometimes hoof wall looks like it's flowing. It is very incredibly slowly, but it is continuous. The keratinocytes that are forming in between the horn tubules and around the horn tubules to create the horn tubules around the papillae are a continuous process. It is happening constantly. So if you were to put it in time lapse, which of course we can't do because obviously horses need to move, but let's say you did, you would see it and sped it up, it would be flowing real quick. You'd see it moving all the time really quickly. You'd see it being taken away at the ground surface and being made up here in the coronary band and the coronary groove. So you take all of this away and you have massive problems. So let's go and read what I put. Is everybody with me still? Am I talking to myself? Because I have to go. So reasons not to toe chop. When you chop the toes off a hoof, you interrupt several vital biological processes and harm the hoof mechanism. 1, you break a crucial feedback loop. The connection from the horn tubules at the ground to the dorsal wall papillae in the coronary band is broken, slowing down the growth rate at the toe, causing an imbalance in growth rates heel to toe. Indeed, it does. You remove vital natural pillars of support at the toe. Mother Nature put them there. Don't remove them. This is critical, regardless of whether there is stretch or not. Those who advocate for this practice ignore these incredibly important functions of the hoof based on various incorrect theories. Why are they incorrect? Because we proved them wrong. Wrong. A longer toe will cause tearing of the laminae. That is wrong. A longer toe will put strain on the DDFT. That is wrong. A longer toe will cause the horse to trip. That is wrong. The hoof capsule must line up with the pastern axis HPA. Wrong, right? When you've got a distorted hoof capsule, it ain't going to. And if you try to line it up with an HPA, what you do, in fact, is that this creates a hyperpositive P3 on a compromised hoof. So none of these theories have ever been proven. None. And they are just simply incorrect. It's all bogus. Removing the toe based on these false theories while causing harm and disrupting vital feedback pathways and support pillars is misfeasance and negligence. Other detrimental effects of chopping the toe are disabling the ability to balance correctly from heel to toe. You simply can't do it anymore. You can't. I don't care who tells you you can. You can't, because you've now only got sole there, which never meant to be walked on. You have not got toe wall, which is your balance point, which is where you need to balance to. It's not there anymore. Shortening the overall surface area just when the horse needs as much surface area as possible. They all do. They need more, not less. causing the horse to walk on their sole. Not only is this wholly unnatural, but it predisposes the horse to P3 osteonecrosis. And we all know what happens when that happens. Those who do this, ignoring Mother Nature's blueprint and disregarding vital constants of the hoof, are likely also leaving heels underrun above the HSP and potentially excess bar material. Bound to be, right? It's happening in this foot, you can see here, because they're not following Mother Nature's blueprint. You can see here in this image that the hoof wall was removed all the way back to the heels. Look at it. Look, all the way back. This is on a live horse as well, by the way. This incorrect hoof care must stop. Equines are being harmed. Stop the chop. No. What do you think of that? Have another look at it. Horrific. Horrific. There. And you just get, I mean, we get fed this stuff and we're like, oh, well, I can make a post out of that because that's bad. Don't do it. And you know something that kind of slightly makes me smile is when they go, yeah, but leaving the toe is going to cause all these problems. You've never tried it. You've never tried it. And when they go, I tried it, it didn't work. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, because you don't trim to Mother Nature's constant. So I know you didn't. And I know if you did, you weren't doing it right? Because you would have been leaving the heels underrun, you'd be leaving the bar material, or several various things that you will have been doing because you don't follow the horse's natural constants. The only people who do are those who understand the true horse's foot. And okay, our domesticated horses are suffering from pathology, but you don't be naive to think you can lop a toe off and it'll fix it. Come on, don't be silly. You cause more problems than good, right? And don't be naive. What do I say, Gary? Don't be naive.
Don't be as naive to think that if you do something to one part of the foot when the rest of the foot doesn't know about it, but that could equally go for the rest of the body.
Yeah, honestly,
have you ever just think about it, and I don't like to anthropomorphize too much, but I have this nasty habit of it's really
ew, did you just say picking your toenails?
I do, and sometimes that doesn't work very well, and a bit too much comes off, and then it gets a bit painful. When I put my foot down, do I walk normally when that happens? And there is this slight little injury that I've caused myself. But does it make me walk differently? Would it have an impact on my joints? Of course it does, because I've injured myself. Of course it does.
Absolutely.
Chopping a whole toe off, I've got another 5 toes. The horse hasn't. And like I say, I don't like to anthropomorphize too much, but this is having a real significant impact on horses that are in our care. And it's got to stop.
It's horse
People
welfare,
need to
guys.
understand. People need to understand that they are causing damage. And it sounds harsh, but there's no other way of saying it. It is a welfare issue. It is a welfare issue. These horses are being damaged by humans on purpose through lack of knowledge. That's what it is.
It's negligence, though. That's negligence because you shouldn't have lack of knowledge. No, you shouldn't. Because if you're in this industry, really, and you do what we do, you should do research like we do. You should. And if you don't, then and if you don't, then that is misfeasance, right? That you're doing things and you're harming. And well, malfeasance, if you want to call it that, when it's it's a deliberate act. So you really have to, and I've done it. Gary's been there, and he's certainly learned from me. I've done all of that. I was a toe chopper. Not as bad as that image that you saw on HM at all. But I did it because I was told to do it 20 odd years ago. That's what I did. I have photographs which make me feel physically quite gross and sick because I look back at them and they're like, oh, and it didn't help. It didn't help. And when I started to learn more about the foot and the hoof mechanism and the papillae, and nobody ever talks about that. Nobody talks about the papillae. You're like, don't be silly. It's biology. You've got to understand, Mother Nature doesn't just put something there to do one job, right? Got to get this out of your head. It is not there to do one job. The papillae is not there just to produce horn, right? No. It's there to do something else as well. And that's in order to create a capsule, to encapsulate everything. Plus, it's there to receive feedback so it knows what to do. Otherwise, the foot would wear off. It would.
It never does.
And it never does.
Never does.
If you increase the horse, if a horse goes off and does 80 to 120k rides, right, it doesn't wear its foot off. Why? Because it's built up to it and it creates horn. It has to. We do it too. You know it does on your own foot because you callus. And so it never does one job. Nothing in any body. Can you hear sort of like rattling?
Yeah, a little bit, but not a lot.
I don't know.
Very faint.
It's disturbing me. It's children again. Older children. Grown-up children. Nothing ever does one job. Think about this. Think about every single thing in the body. Nothing ever does one job. And so just to say, oh, it's okay, you can cut it off, it's fine, is ridiculous because you are interrupting so much stuff. It's really bad. And so consequently, I did it. And then I found out that you don't need to do that. And in fact, things are much improved if you don't do that. And when osteonecrosis you started rearing its head, which I know no trimmers are ever taught about. I know it because I know their syllabuses, right? They don't teach it. They don't even teach it in farrier school. They don't even teach it in vet school because they're just told it's laminitis. Oh, liberally brush it. The laminitis brush. I'll dip it in my laminitis pot and I'll just paint everything with that because that's what it is. It's not. It isn't. Stop it. Stop doing silly things to the horse's foot just because you think you can fix it when you damn well can't. Off my soapbox. Where was I?
You'll be back.
Thank you, Mary.
In a minute.
Thank you. Well, okay, thank you, Mary Ann, for that. It was good. Yes, completed day 1 and halfway through the day 2 video. You didn't have to stop to come and watch us do this, did you? Well done. Kelly Moore says she's doing really well. Still walking the same. Gonna try her on a short hack tomorrow. She had chip yesterday and she had a chirp yesterday and looking good. I'm sure it's not meant to be chirp. Anne Blake says, resting it a lot, not burst yet. It'll happen. Take a photograph when it does. Lydia says, I can do a Thursday. Brilliant. I'll send you the link. I'll send you the link and you can book it. I can't go back to change the date. It doesn't matter. I'll send you the link. It's fine. I'll sort it out for you after the live. I'll do it. Vivian, hello. Hello. Sarah Susie's got my hoof stand today. Went for the hoof jack, eagerly awaiting my chaps. They cost more than the stand. But got a lovely back support. Ooh, I want to see you in your uniform. It's going to look exciting. Heidi Watkins, sorry I'm late. Hey, everyone. Hey. Little birdie tells me that you might have been talking to Laura. You're going to love Laura, Heidi. She's an absolute delight. Morna says, hello, finally got here. Brilliant, Morna. Good to see you. Becky's here. Hello, Becky. How are you, Jenny says, if only horse owners knew the damage over time, if only anyone that picks up trimming tools knew this, why would they do this trim? Old research, old traditional methods still being followed. You're too right, Jenny. And you know what? They're not living it, are they? Because those research scientists, nah, they're not living it. They haven't got horses with osteonecrosis, Jenny, like you have, and like so many millions of other horse owners have. They haven't. And then they dictate what needs to be done. Let's bring on all the vets and farriers that have got horses with osteonecrosis. Do you remember that vet, Gary, who posted on our page? It might have even been in the Phoenix page, actually. And she was an equine vet. I think she was an equine vet. I'm pretty sure she was an equine vet. She was certainly a vet. And she said she totally, wholly believed in removing the toe and doing all of those things. It was a big, long post. And she said, until her horse came down with laminitis and also had hoof care issues. And she said, and then I realized all of that didn't work. And her horse was nearly put to sleep until she went, I have no other choice now but to try this. And she did. And then she put, Lindsay and Gary have got it right. You need to listen to what they're saying, because we have a 99% failure rate in the veterinary industry for horses. That is shocking. And think about this. We have, especially in the UK, right? There's hundreds of vets. In the area that I covered, which was Cornwall and South Devon, I could count in just my little area where I lived in Southeast Cornwall, I could count at least 5 equine practices. It's not so much here in France, where we live a little bit more rurally, but 5 equine, it's just not quite the same, 5 equine practices, right, in the UK. So that's so many more vets than you can imagine. Loads and loads of vets. It's the same in the medical world, loads and loads of doctors, and yet pathology is still rising. They're not fixing stuff, are they? Pathology is still on the rise. It is exponential. Oh, indeed it is. Shauna's here. Hello, Shauna Simmons. You're late. Doesn't matter. You'll be able to go back and watch. Brilliant article. Thank you. Becky says, Becky, hello. Hello. I had a thought today. You mentioned the other day that insurance companies are taking an interest in doing barefoot research. They are. Would you be able to approach them with your evidence to see if they would fund appropriate research in that area? At the end of the day, if they took an interest and could see you were right, they would definitely be upset by the money farriers and vets are costing them. Yes. Well, we've talked about that. We have. We're just sitting on it for the minute. But yes, we have talked about it. And you are correct. That is exactly where it will be directed. That is where it will be. It will make people sit up and think when the insurance companies go, well, I'm not covering osteonecrosis because of blah, blah, blah. Now, that ultimately damages the horse owner, right? Not the farrier or the vet. But it does mean that the vet's going to have to start changing their ways. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to claim stuff on that person's insurance. Because I think we all are not naive, are not so naive to not realize that the veterinary practices in wealthy areas where there's a lot of insurance have all the gadgets, all the tricks, all the big diagnostic tools. You go further away from those wealthier areas to poorer areas where people can't afford to insure their horses, and the veterinary practices don't have all those tricks. The reason they have all of those, I remember speaking to a vet in the practice down in Cornwall, and he said he graduated with a vet who's got a practice or is part of a practice in Kent in the UK, which is much more affluent than it is in Cornwall. And he said his practice has got every single gadget you can think of. And I said, wow. And he said, in ours, no, we haven't. We have some, but not very many. And I said, oh, wow, why is that? And he said, insurance. He said their veterinary practice is built on insurance. Oh, so you're right. Becky, you are right. Insurance companies are going to take an interest if they are paying out hand over fist for something which is being caused by human error. This isn't just a sickness that just happens. This is being caused by human error. So watch this space. Vivian is here. Hello, Vivian Patterson. Great info. I'm going to try and forward it to my vet. Oh, you do it. Do it. Everybody forward it to your vet. Jenny says, Jenny, just sent photos of a wee soul we had living on behalf with us for 3 years till he passed. Oh, poor thing. Osteonecrosis took his life. And at that time, I didn't know what I know today. I was told by trimmers it was what I was feeding. I know you were. Have sent photo to messenger showing rings and the trim that was applied, not by me. If only the clock could be turned back. Also, the pony prior our place, he had been trimmed like Coke cans. Okay, should we go look? Let me go see if I can find it, because Jenny just sent it through to me. Okay. Let's just have a look at this that Jenny's just sent me. Hold on, callers. We're nearly there. There we go. Can you see that?
Oh my Lord.
So this. So do you see the diverging rings? Do you see that this ring is doing this and they are all clumping up like material? You can see how narrow they are. Let's see if we can blow that up even more. So you can see all these rings look really tiny together, but when you look at them down here at the heel, they look wider. Now, the way that they used to explain this, well, there's a couple of ways to explain it, is because the heels are growing really fast in laminitis. And you go, why? And they go, don't know. Blood. What about the blood? Maybe it's the blood that causes. What about the blood? Why is the blood causing it? I don't know. Why do the heels grow really fast on a laminitic pony? They just do. No, they don't actually. They grow at the right rate. You see the width of these rings? That's just normal. That's just the normal width those rings should be. Okay. What's happened is that all the rings on the toe have gone really tight. So you go, why does that happen? Oh, that's compression. I beg your pardon. That's compression. That's because it's compressing those horn tubules together. Is it really? Well, do you know, that's really interesting, because that still happens when you chop the toe off. Oh, it only happens, sorry, when you chop the toe off. So how can the horn tubules be being compressed? That doesn't make sense. Because when you take the toe and you put it back, or you allow it to grow back, guess what happens? They don't bunch up like that on the toe. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that your theory of compression is incorrect. And you've never found that out. And you've been telling the world, and I say you, meaning many scientists in the equine world, have been telling everyone, and many vets that are out there, that it's caused by compression, because they've never gone and left a toe to grow normally, even though it might have stretch, because it's ugly. So give the horse their foot back. They've never allowed the foot to grow like that. And so therefore, they have never seen that this all evens out. The distance between these two remains the same here, just like in an ordinary hoof wall that is not had its toe chopped. But because they've never done it, they've never seen it. So they make silly assertions that it's compression causing this. It can't be compression. You've chopped the toe off.
What's compressing? Doesn't make sense. It's not even logical.
No, it's not logical. So let's have a look at the other picture. Here's the rings. Let's see the ring. Look at this foot over here. I mean, goodness me. Poor pony Jenny. Oh. Look, do you see them compressing? Compressing. Do you see, I'm at it now. Do you see them? Do you see them all together?
Yeah, bunching up because
Bunching up. Let's call it
there's no feedback. It's
No.
bunching up because there's no feedback. There's feedback at the heel, therefore there's more growth. The feedback mechanism is shut down, which is causing that bunching up at the top of the toe there.
Don't be so naive to think that if you do something at one side of part of the foot, the other part of the foot doesn't know about it. The papillae down here are like la 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 la. Oh, we're still working normally. And the papillae up here are like, and they're going, oi guys, wake up. What's the matter? And they're like, oh, it's just, we don't need to work today and yesterday and the day before and for the last few months and years because there's nothing going on down at the toe. And the heel's like, yes, there is. We're walking out there. You need to grow. You need to grow those horn tubers, make them. Nah, now we don't need them because that person keeps coming along and chopping us off. We don't need. Go back to bed.
What's the fuel? What's the fuel for those horn tubules? For those horn tubules to create, it needs fuel. That fuel is stimulation.
Meanwhile, and I can't draw it in here because I've got it on my messenger. But meanwhile, can you see my thingy?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, P3, because the balance has been disrupted, and again, this gets my goat, there's not enough material under here. I'm sure you can appreciate that if we look at this one over here. There's actually not enough material. So, in fact, the picture that I showed, that I drew those red lines on, I should have actually drawn that bottom line slightly lower down, but people probably would have got very confused with that. But there's just actually not enough material here. Therefore, because pony's walking on the sole and it's thinner than it would be normally, osteonecrosis is what happens. And so P3, which would normally be like that, just begins to die back. It's terrible. Nobody is talking about it. Thank you so much, Jenny, for sharing. Where I can't find you. I've got to go back. Where's StreamYard gone? I've lost you.
We're still here.
I've lost you. Are you back? Stop share. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing that. And I know it breaks your heart and it breaks mine, but my God, we're doing something about it though, aren't we, girl? Becky says it's a hidden horror. It's never mentioned or acknowledged except by you, HM. This is our mission to spread the word. Stop the chop and stop causing osteonecrosis. Absolutely. Honestly, in the first month of the Phoenix group beginning, our lovely pros, of which Becky is one of them, our lovely pro students were inundated with people with problems because they'd been having the toe chopped off. And right now, every single day in our inbox, if they don't put it on the Phoenix group, because not everybody is brave enough to, we get inundated with pictures and people going, have you got a pro in my area? I'm desperate. And many times we can put somebody in place with them, but many times we can't. And of course, when they've got osteonecrosis, the outcome is very guarded depending on how much has been removed of the pedal bone. The more that's been removed, the worse it gets, and the more likely that your pony will never recover. Well, I mean, they can never recover P3, right? They can't grow it back again. I mean, they're not salamanders. They do that, don't they? They grow their parts back, do they? Vivian, where's Vivian Ulrich? Do salamanders do that? You're a small animal there. You know what I'm talking about. Vivian Patterson says, I was thinking about the chopped toe, how it has become acceptable rehab. And a long toe really ruffles the feathers. I'm explaining the pillars of support to people at my barn. It really does ruffle feathers, doesn't it? But you've just got to take a hop over to Goresworth and see Bethan's rehabs and go, oh, it works. Oh my God. And it isn't, and another thing that ruffles our feathers actually is a very flippant remark that people say to sort of shut it down, to give it that conspiracy theory or that tin hat, you know, comment where it shuts it right down. Is the comment, well, that it got better anyway, it's the diet manager that did it despite the trim. You're like, what are you talking about? Because what are you talking about as getting better? Because you can't see, person who chops off toe, all the problems that are going on inside the foot. So don't just think, well, the hoof would have grown out anyway, despite the diet management, despite the hoof care, because of the diet management. No, because the hoof care has an impact on what's going on inside the foot that you can't see, that you don't understand. So when these feet get better at Goresworth, they get better in a better way than your feet that have had the toe chopped off, because they may look like they've both got the same hoof capsule on the outside, but I guarantee what's going on inside doesn't look the same. That's the difference. You tell him, Vivian. Lisa Charles says, I don't think it's lack of knowledge for the professionals. It's 100% ego and ignorance. As a professional, you should be constantly asking questions and learning. I agree. Having in my lifetime doing this job, I've come across an awful lot of people who trim as trimmers, people who are farriers, people who are vets, people who are physios, masseurs, you name it. That I think I've met everybody in one flavor or another. And the ones that I have found the most intolerable, who I've not been able to speak to, who don't want to listen, are people who are right at the very top, or who they believe are at the very top, i.e. in the veterinary side. Those are the ones that are least likely to listen to you. And that's why, and you know, I say this very openly, that is why we are not going to change the world by sitting down really and having conversations with professionals, because they're not going to want to change. They're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to change it. Oh, that's interesting. But who are you? Sorry. No, you're what? A barefoot trimmer? Have you had 3 days training? Yeah, right. Okay. No. So it doesn't happen. Who will change it? The Phoenix Warriors. People like you will change it. It's pointless. You're never going to get anywhere. Pia's here. Hello, Pia. Lydia says you should put that vet's testimonial on all HM pages. Maybe other vets will start thinking about better hoof care. I'll go find it, actually, but it was a while ago. And we also have, of course, our lovely Renee Tucker, who's been through our programs, who is in California, and who's an equine vet, who really spends her time now doing her Tucker method, which is to do with the body. Yeah, she went through it and was like, my God, I'm literally going to tell the world about this. People have to know. This is just mental. They have to know. Vivian says, my vet never said anything about ski tips when she founded and what caused it on the x-rays. That was 2 years ago. I know about them now because of you. Jenny's the same. And everybody else is the same. Jenny was like, they were being x-rayed years ago. And no one went, see this little remodeling on the tip of P3 here? You see that? That's not good news. That's not good news. And that's there because P3 is in the wrong position and you have pressure from underneath causing an occlusion of the blood, which is the nutrition for the hoof, causing it to sadly begin to die and remodel, because bone will also remodel. Becky says that would be the game changer, having the insurance companies on the side. It'll happen unless they are in the pockets of farriers and veterinary college or the pharmaceutical companies. They will listen. Well, it's interesting you should say that. I'll tell you a little story. And this is about an insurance company in the UK who mainly insures farriers. And we knew someone who was an underwriter for that insurance company, right? And they tipped us off that a certain council had contacted them. And this is back in the day, right? But this was happening, and this sort of stuff still happens. They tipped us off that there was a certain council who were putting pressure on this insurance company and saying, if you continue to insure these barefoot trimmers, because we were insured with them, and a lot of people were insured with them, because at that time there were only certain ones you could go to, very few. If you continue to insure these barefoot trimmers, we will take our business elsewhere. And so that company went, right, and they stopped insuring barefoot trimmers. And they said, but we will not cancel the policies of the ones that already have insurance with us. So our policies were still sound, if you like, but or still current, but we ended up leaving them because we did not believe that they would have had our best interests at heart if we'd have had a problem and needed them. As it was, I never even claimed on my insurance, not one little bit, and never have, because we never had to. We're not causing problems out there. And one of the reasons that you know, you have insurance, of course, is to cover you. Of course it is. So yeah, it's political. It happens. It does happen. Pressure is put on companies, because if you have a lot of money being made or coming in because you are the main insurer, and they turn around and go, I tell you, if you do that, we're out. They go, oh yeah, we're not going to insure anybody. We won't do that. Sarah says, we have nothing over here, not even an X-ray. We need to transport animals to the mainland. Impossible to do, especially when Squire had acute laminitis and couldn't travel. It's 4 hours on a boat. Even when the working dog got kicked in the head by a cow, it took us 24 hours to get her to be seen, and there were no boats to the next day. Island veterinary care is awful. Oh, God. That's a real downer for living on an island, and I really want to live on an island. I do. Oh. So what you guys have to do, I assume, is become very resourceful, and you learn about stuff, and you can do excellent first aid, I should imagine. That's very interesting, isn't it? Angela, hello, late today, was out trimming big hooves with thick hoof walls. So, my kids used to take the mick out of me because I used to have massive, really big arms, big guns. Took little more time to be meticulous and aiming for perfection. I like it. Not too short, not too high anywhere, just right. Cheers to you, Ellen G. Cheers to you. Cheers. I'm drinking my water for that. That's good to know, Angela. Jenny says, yes, very, very sad. Still haven't got over it. And now five others here in the same position. 9 years of inappropriate trimming. Not by me. Worse, we had x-rays showing ski tips, but no one said anything. But back then, I didn't know what that meant. And clearly those pros involved didn't know either. And I'll let you into a little dirty secret. They still don't know. And those that are watching these YouTubes, or that are following HM or the Phoenix group, are like, ding, ding, ding. Oh dear, oh God. And you know what? They'll be thinking, I really hope that HM is wrong. I really hope they're wrong. Because if we're right, and we know we're right, then it's going to rock the equine world. And it already is rocking the equine world. And that ripple, It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Why? Because you're growing. 6.3 thousand. And actually, I think any minute we're going to hit 6.4. I had a look at it earlier. 6.4 thousand people in a minute we're going to be hitting already. And we're only in May. You know, we're only halfway through May. We only started in January. It's crazy. We're waking the world up. Silly question. Nothing's ever a silly question. What does osteonecrosis look like on an X-ray? Oh, let me show you. If you've never seen it, I will go and find something for you to look at. This one. Hold on, let me find it first. So this is one of Lindsay's. I won't show you. I'll show you a quick skeg of it all, but oh, wait a minute, that one. This is one of Lindsay's many whiteboards. Okay, come on, Canva, work for me now. Work for me now. This is what it looks like. Hold on, let me find some decent X-rays for you. Not that one. I'm trying to find it. Where have I put them? Where have I put them? Oh, here's one. So this is a pony. This was in 2001 or 2. Look at the heels, and we'd already started to get remodeling. So P3 should. Let me get my drawing tool out. Draw. So P3. I don't know how. Oh, hello. Come back. Is that thick? That's too thick. Let's just get rid of you. Bear with me. Turn that weight down. Doop. That's better. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so P3 shouldn't be in this position, number one. And it should be like that, right? But it isn't. What P3 is doing is it's lost its tip and it's remodeling. Now look at what it's doing, and you'll see this everywhere. It's creating a flat surface, because when P is in the right position, it has a flat surface just there, right? But when it is hyper, boop, boop, it doesn't have a flat surface anymore. And so what it does is it starts to degenerate and it puts out a ski tip. So then when P3 is back to the right position, you still have that little ski tip there. So that is P3. Now, everybody needs to look when they look at X-rays for this little thing here. And actually, it's quite good drawing it in red, because it's called the terminal arch. And that terminal arch is where all the vital blood vessels come down and they meet there and they join. So the blood vessel that's over the other side of the leg, because they come down in twos, straight down, they meet in the middle in the terminal arch. In what actually the whole of the terminal arch is actually known as the solar canal, right? That's actually what it's called. And the actual terminal arch is when these two blood vessels join right in the middle there. Right, it doesn't have that cross. I'll just put it there to show you that it joins. So one comes up from one side of the leg and one comes up from the other side of the leg, right? Or comes down into this. And the tip P3 should be away from that. Terminal arch is, so if we put P3 in more, oh hello, no, not like that. If we put P3 in a more normal position, the terminal arch is quite low, because that means it's protected by all of this. That's why it's where it is. It's deep in the in P3. It's deep inside there because it's protected. And then from there we get all these little blood vessels branching out, and they go out here. Now they don't branch out downwards. They don't do that. The only way that they can actually get around to the bottom and feed the sole is by coming out here, coming down here, and hitting what we now know is the circumflex artery, and there's a circumflex vein, and then that goes up and feeds that way, right? So when you have P3 in a hyperpositive position like that, then that little, so all these coming out here, and they go, oh, that circumflex artery is pinched just there. And then what happens is, through pressure from below, and through having too high a heel, boop, massively high heel, because the palmar, this is the palmar processes, and that's what we call the palmar angle, is far too positive. What happens is that this tip starts to degenerate, and that's why you get that ski tip there, because this is being trapped. It's being occluded. All right. So we know that the terminal arch is incredibly important. And if we honestly, if you start getting close to the terminal arch, all those lovely blood vessels that were coming out of here, like, oh, hello. Oh, we've lost, like, literally lost the tip of P3. There were blood vessels coming out of here 5 minutes ago. They're not there anymore. They've gone. Right. We've only got these blood vessels going out now. So that's reducing blood supply. And that terminal arch is a good indicator. It's what you need to look for when you're looking at P3, when you're looking at how much degeneration's in P3. So let's move down. Let's go over to the other foot, which you can't see so well. It's blurry, but look what you can see. Look what you can see in there. You can see the terminal arch. Are you all still with me, by the way? I'm just enjoying myself here. Just having a lovely time talking to myself, I think. Oh, I've lost you again. Where's it gone? Come back. Oh no. There it is. And you can see it's happened on this side too. Boom. And palmar processes are way up in the sky. Look at the heels. And why is that like that? Because we're trying to get that hoof pastern axis straight. Because we've not been cognizant of the fact that this is a poorly distorting foot through laminitis initially, and then we've just jacked the heels up to get this all straight. And then, just to add insult to injury, we put a load of shoes on, and just to add even more insult to injury, we left them proud. We left those nailies proud. That's lovely. And so this distance here, which we call the hoof distal phalanx distance. God, I'm so trying to write this. I can't. The hoof distal phalanx distance gets wider, right? Oh, it's wide down here now. So immediately, what do? What do? They bring out their I'm going to put a paintbrush. Oh, brush. They bring out their. No, I want a big one. I want a big paintbrush. They bring out their let's turn that one red. Boom. And let's just make it a bit smaller. Let's make it here. And they bring out their laminitis paintbrush, and they go, let's just paint everything with laminitis. Let's cover it all with laminitis. Ooh, it's a wide HDPD, and it's laminitis. No, it isn't. This, my friends, is now a wall that cannot grow in at all next to its guide, which is what P3 is doing. It's a guide for the hoof capsule. It can't. So stop painting it with that brush. So this was, I think, 2001. I think it might have been a bit earlier than that. So when the pony was shod. Now we're going to move down a little bit further. Now look at this. This is the same horse. This is the same pony. And I'm just going to select all these things and just delete them a minute, because then you can see it a bit better. I'll leave the terminal arch all red there. All right, let's go back to my drawing thing. Draw, and boom, I put the terminal arch in that one too. Let's just color it in. Oh, with the circle. Okay, there it is. So we got the terminal arch. Now look down. Now look what's happening. Can you see? So the shoes were taken off because, well, for whatever reason, I actually don't know the reason that the shoes were taken off. The heels came down a little, but not a lot, right? And then the toe was continually removed. So you can, if you look carefully, you can X-rays tell you all kinds of things. So this here, if you go back in a minute, you'll see it in a minute. If I do this, when I take that line away, you're going to see that there is a line there. That's because this is the laminae that is now exposed, because this pony was having its toes completely removed, its toe wall completely removed, right? So what has that resulted in? It's resulted in a pony that still has high heels, has still got a very positive palmar angle, but now look where the terminal arch is getting closer and closer to here. It is getting dangerously close, and we've seen it go right through. And look at P3. Do you see that flat surface? Do you see what it's doing? How it's being remodeled as it is also being removed? Do you see it? It's not clever, is it? No, we've got problems with these animals. We really do, because it's not just a case of coming along now and going, let's just chop this off, because we've lost so much here. This is now, this is, oh, let's just draw that in better. That's worse. Okay, this is, it's a little bit high actually, but this is the coronary band, and P2 should be actually here. And now you might go, well, this is a sinker. In the sense of the word, it is, but in actual fact, it's because there is just no substance here anymore that has been removed. It's not that it's sunk through, it's just that there's just nothing here, right? If there had been, this would not be in the position it is in the hoof capsule, is what I'm trying to say, which I think you probably understand, right? So this has all been very, very damaged. But because we're now in this position and we have this amount of sole depth, if we just come along and we just go, oh, I'll just take the heels off, we haven't got the same amount of depth to play with here. This is when it starts getting tricky. And this is also a little compacted, but it's not the same now. Things are not the same inside the hoof capsule like the way they used to be. The circumflex artery that's running around here, that is meant to be around here, that is around the dermis, which is feeding the sole, that's all gone to pieces too, because he's been trapped for so long. And then what does it look like on the outside? That's what it looks like on the outside. What do we see? We see diverging rings. Okay, so these are normal width. They are not excessive. They are not the heels growing at an excessive rate. That's just normal. Those are just normal width. The heels are growing at the right rate. They're all awake. Hello, we're awake. But these guys up here have just gone ZZs. They've like gone to sleep, right? Because this horn tubule stops here. It isn't down here anymore, where it should be. And okay, we'd have distortion. Oops. Okay, we'd have distortion. But that at least the horse would have, the pony would have a foot, and the pony would not have suffered from osteonecrosis. And this we would have just grown out. So it would have had a normal foot at the end. But because of years and years and years and years of chopping that toe off and leaving these heels really super high, P3 has died. P3 has died. And they are all very close together here. This is what we call diverging rings, diverging toe, hoof wall rings. And you can see it, guys. And that's all because this has pretty much stopped. It's slowed right down. And pony is walking right here. Right there. So you can see from here, had we been in charge of this pony when the shoes came off, we'd have just taken the heels back to where they needed to be, and we would have recognized that this horse had some separation now, because the width of this corresponds to the width of this, which is the man-made bit, and gradually that would have grown out, and this pony would have had a foot a bit like that. Yes, it would have had a ski tip, but it would have had a chance. Not when it was down here. Okay. I don't know whether I have another one to show you. Yeah, here's another one. They're all the same. They all look the same. Here's another one. Here's the diverging toe rings. Okay, oops. Sorry. Here's the diverging toe rings. Here's another one. Here's another one. Can you see them? Here's the toe that's all chopped off. It always is the same. It's always the same MO. Here's the diverging toe rings. Here's the diverging toe rings. Because the toe's chopped off, and this is the result. Where's that terminal arch? Was here. It's pretty much gone. Flat. Now we've got nothing to play with, and it gets so bad. It gets so bad that is what happens eventually. This is all dirt, all this stuff here. It's just dirt, which does get my goat a bit, you know, clean them up a bit before you take x-rays, for goodness sake, guys. People are paying money for it. Chopping these toes right off. Pressure. Once upon a time, you had high heels. And now this is the angle that it grows in, that it is in, sorry. And this is just snubbed. And look, there it is. There's the snub, and that's what it looks like underneath. Here's the apex of the frog, and here would have been P3. Let's force the horse to walk on this, shall we? Are you utterly out of your mind? Are you out of your tiny minds? This is what the horse should have been walking on. And in fact, with this horse, because he had such high heels at one point, his feet would have been quite, even more so actually, probably way out there, very separated. But that's okay. And he would have had quite a wedge in there, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. This would have been support. It would have taken all the pressure off here. And all those heels had to be done was trimmed down to the hard sole plane. It's not rocket science. You are deforming horses' feet, and you need to stop it
now. Shocking, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's an hour and 9 so far. How did How did we do that? How does the hour go like that so quickly?
Good stuff, though. Good stuff. Well, it's not good stuff, but people need to know it. We want to stop it. Stop the chop. It's not necessary. Yep. But you've got to stop the chop, and then you've got to have the hoof care right.
Yeah, because it's all very
double whammy.
It's everything has to be. That's why we train our professionals to do everything. They've got to understand all of it. It's no good just understanding a bit of it, or even a bit of it. And you know, all the it makes me cross, all of this silliness about all the supplements, etc. There are animals in the world that do need to be supplemented, but not the number that are being supplemented. But that's completely another thing. But all this silliness, and it goes on, and they'll blow it all up. And deep down, the really crucial thing that everybody is ignoring is the fact that these animals are being crippled by incorrect hoof care. Stop going on about the nutrition. We're going over the top anyway. That's hypernutrition. We are totally overfeeding our horses. Like I've said, they're stuffed and they're starving because they haven't got the right nutrients. You think they have because you're stuffing them full of supplements. They haven't, because they need fiber. And the big picture, the really big picture, the one that's underground that nobody talks about, because it's is what is happening because of incorrect hoof care. Monica says, we stop it. We with you. Thank you. You have to be with us. Marianne says, thanks for that excellent lesson. Very informative as it is heartbreaking. Other sites hate your stop the chop saying, I know, Lydia. I know. Heartbreaking. I know.
Stop the chop saying is so punchy though, isn't it? Even if they don't like it, it's in their head. And that's exactly where it needs to be. Stop the chop and learn to do better.
You've got to do better. When you know better, you do better.
Do better. Of course you do.
Right? You have to. I did. I learnt. There were horses on my books I couldn't cure. I'd turn up, Super Lindsay, she's turned up to help your horse. That's what I thought I was. Super Lindsay, I can come and fix everything because I understand hoof care. You just change the diet and the management and you get the right trim and woo, you've got it. No. Well, a lot of the time, yes, Super Lindsay. But then those were those little ones I didn't really like to talk about, were those ponies that I turned up to that had their toes chopped off. I turned up and they were already done. And I'd be like, oh, terrible. Take loads of photographs. And I'd be like, don't worry, owner. Super Lindsay's here. She'll save you and your horse. I know what the fix is. It's diet and management and the best trim ever in the world. I can do that. And I'd be like, boom, 3 months later, pony's still going. Add a little bit of a, little better because the heels came down and I'm scratching my head going, can't understand, compaction at the back of the foot. Got to get those heels down, get those heels down, get those heels down. You know, it's causing rotation, right? But they wouldn't get better. The toe would begin to grow down, but instead of getting down to the ground, it'd go, and I'd be like, I don't understand. And the pony just wouldn't be getting better. And they'd be like, so much for Super Lindsay. And I'd be like, yeah, so much for Super Lindsay. She's a bit of a fake. What a fraud. And it made me feel like that. It really did. I felt crap about it, frankly. And there weren't many. Now, this is the interesting thing back there. There weren't that many. Well, I genuinely think there are still hoof care professionals who don't really come across it very often. Maybe I came across a few more because of the area I was in. I don't know. But I didn't come across loads, but I came across a good handful, right? And I stuck with them, and the poor owners were doing everything I told them. They were changing the diet. Some of them were on track. Most of them were on tracks, and they were still like walking around. Now I know the walk. I didn't know it back then. I just got my paintbrush out and liberally painted everything with laminitis like everybody else did, and went, oh, it's laminitis. And we got the diet and management right. Why are they not getting better then? And I just didn't understand. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand why these feet weren't getting better. And as I talk to you now, I can see them in my head. I can see the owners. I can see the horses. I can see me there doing it. Super Lindsay. Super Lindsay. Is how I felt when I go home. And I'd be like that. I don't like it. I'm not happy. I'm upset. I don't understand what's going on. I'd scratch my head. And meanwhile, I'm doing workshops. Gary and I and the rest of the gang were out doing workshops and telling people diet and management and sort the trim out and everything will be fine. And then one day, because we were cutting a lot of feet up, one day I just turned around to Gary and I said, God, look at these bones, right? They're just dying. They are disintegrating. P3 is not there anymore, you know, and I'd seen it in x-rays, but I'd never, I painted it with the laminitis brush, right? And every time we looked at him, we were like, look at the heels, look at the toe. It's all been chopped. Exactly the same MO every single time. It's never like a normal foot, you know, like a really good, healthy foot. Suddenly P3 has just died. That never happens. We never see that. And eventually I'm like, So we chopped more up and we chopped more up and we chopped more up. And then we looked at more x-rays and more x-rays and more x-rays. And we just went, oh, God. By then, I'd already, you know, there was no toe chopping going on or anything for me. That stopped 2009, I think, probably the last time I ever did that. But I wasn't like, but even so, I took the toe all off the ground. And not on every horse, but I did. Because, and I'll tell you something else, and this is something that also happens. Sorry, I'm going off on one, but I'll tell you something else that happens because you're conflicted, because I was. And I'd be like, leave the toe alone. Let it grow down to the ground. It must. That's important. That's the natural foot. Give it the toe pillar. And then I'd be letting it grow down. And it wouldn't be growing down properly. And I'd be like, I don't know what's going on. And then I'd be going, maybe if I just smartened it up a little bit, made it look like that little pony that you just saw then, with the, maybe if I just rasped it, maybe that, the lack of that pull tear, maybe that'll sort it. It's got to sort it, hasn't it? Nope, made no difference. All those people out there that say, oh, well, the horse was so much better when I took the toe off. Sorry. No.
Rubbish.
That's not true. It's not true. At best, they're no different. At worst, you think that they're okay, and gradually they've got worse because you just increased the wobble effect, right? And you didn't even know it. Anyway, there you go. Stop the chop. I will never stop saying it. I will never stop saying it. Sorry, guys. I think I just went off on one. Michelle says, what starts toe cracks? Is it start with diet? Not necessarily, actually, but yes, diet and management are huge in that. But if you have a stretched white line and you have toe cracks, because it was toe cracks you're on about, then obviously it's going to struggle getting that crack to heal because you've got stretched white lines. So there's problems in there. So first of all, you've got to check to make sure that the foot is perfectly balanced. We've got no osteonecrosis. And then the diet and management's right. When you've got all of that sorted out, then and only then will the toe cracks begin to heal. But you get scar tissue, right? The horn gets confused at times and they get scar tissue in there. But that's okay. It doesn't bother the horse particularly. Also digging out clips, toe clips, complete carving it right through to the laminae. Carving it just infects it. After a while, it becomes damaged. We know that when keratin is traumatized. Now we know, well, some of us know, that when you traumatize keratin over a certain period of time, it actually starts to deform and confuse itself. And that's what a keratoma is. And it becomes hard lump and it's confused. And the lamellar wedge is part of that too. It's just, this looks like confused mass of doesn't know what it's doing. So you've basically got to get everything right, and also not have a horse that's got bony changes. So yeah. See, Anne, if you just hadn't asked that question, I wouldn't have gone off on one. It's your fault. You did it. And Shirley says, yeah, would you like to see the x-rays from the horse I took to the vet last week? Shirley, can we look at them on Monday? Because we're an hour and 20 in and we haven't got time. But can you send them to me? Are you my friend on Messenger? Gary's going to make a note.
Send them to me.
Shirley, send them to me, and I'll have a look at them, and then we'll talk about them on the live on Monday. I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'm sorry, you know me now. You know me well enough now. I promise that I will have a look at the I will start to sort YouTube out as well. I promise. I've just got so much to do. Would anybody like to do it for me? Yes, I'll do it. Just so much to do. Haven't we, Gary?
We have. But
anyway,
it's all fun. It's all good fun.
I hope you enjoyed that live. We ended it on a Friday. We ended it with a bit of a lesson, didn't we? So there you go.
We did.
All right, my friends. You will not see us this weekend. We're having the weekend off in terms of lives. Still going to be working, but having the weekend off for the lives. And we'll be back on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Lots of food for thought. We'll see you then. Bye.
Take care.